So in this video, we're going to look into the second element that needs to be considered as you start managing and engaging remotely an existing team. And I want to talk to you first about communication. So in terms of communication, one of the things that is vital is to actually look at the technology that will support the communication within the team as they work remotely. And there are a couple of things that you need to consider in the realm of technology. So number one, as a rule of thumb, what we realized was that less is better. So meaning try to not have too many tech to be brought in as a compulsory tools to be used as you manage the team. The second rule of thumb is that try to use low tech or common tech that are available out there, because this will help ease the team into communicating with each other easier. It's not that you can't introduce new technology. It's just that, or new apps or new softwares. It's just that it requires some time to learn to use all this. So it's always good, as a rule of thumb for us. What we discovered is to use low tech or common technology. Yeah. The other thing that we also need to also consider when choosing technology is what's your need, and match the need to tech. Sometimes we tend to be more passionate about the tech rather than the function of it. So I think what we need to do is look at the need for your team and then match the tech that you need that will fulfill that needs of your team, rather than be hooked on the tech itself. The other thing is, yes, less is better, but at the same time, also remember a variety is also good. So rather than just have one tech, it'll be nice to have, I would say rule of thumb, I would say maybe 3 or 4. But 2 would be maybe the one that you use the most, and another 2 are the ones that you use sometime. So having a variety keeps it alive, keeps it more dynamic. So yes, less is better. At the same time, balance it with variety as well. The other thing to consider when you're talking about tech, what kind of tech to be used, is to weigh between spending on tech or using the free ones. There are many free tech out there that you are able to use, especially if you're using common tech. So for example, like you're using the phone or a WhatsApp, that's common for everyone, so it doesn't require an additional cost to it. And sometimes this also will, when you look at your needs, it will also point to whether you should buy or not buy the tech. So consider that as well. Consider using the ones that are free out there. And last but not least, accessibility. How accessible is the tech to your team? And this is something for you to consider, because different team members will maybe have different accessibility to different tech. So it's important to also take this into consideration when choosing the tech that you would like to use. So that is in terms of technology. From our own experience managing and engaging our team, we have narrowed it down to 4 kinds of apps or tech that we used. So number one is we use Zoom, and what we have decided is we decided to buy Zoom and not just use the free features. Our needs also requires us to use certain features that is not available in the free version. So Zoom is the first one that we use. The second one is we use something that is common to everyone, doesn't need a lot of training, even no training whatsoever, is the WhatsApp. So as a team, we actually have a couple of different WhatsApp groups, so mini groups, and we talked about how it's important to have one-to-one and one-to-many. Then it's also important to have one-to-few. So we have used WhatsApp to actually address this one-to-few. So we have basically 3 WhatsApp groups. So number one is the WhatsApp group for the whole team. Number two, the other one is the WhatsApp group for a specific function, which is our creative content. Number three is a WhatsApp group for finance. Yeah. So these are the two mini ones, but we have one major one, right? So to consider as well is the private and confidential element of the work. So sometimes you do need to have a different WhatsApp group to handle subjects that are more PNC in nature. So that's the reason why we have three different WhatsApp groups. We also use Jamboard. Jamboard is a really interesting little apps, little software that is online. So it's very accessible to everyone. It doesn't have to be downloaded. It is very easy to invite. It is actually by Google. And in essence, Jamboard is basically a notice board, that has a function of using post-it notes. So this is a culture that what we have implemented offline is we use a lot of discussion, a lot of inputs and point of views from different people. We collate. So we still continue that culture in online. Remember the element of culture as one of the elements that you need to manage. How can you actually bring the offline culture into online? So this is one of the ways that we did, was using Jamboard. So that's the third tag that we use. And the fourth tag that we use is Google Docs. It helps for us to actually work collaboratively on one document from different location. We use email, but actually in terms of managing and engaging team remotely, we hardly use email. Because we have all these other things. We reserve email more for our connection with external parties rather than within team itself. So that's the reason why, if some of you are wondering why email is not included in one of the tag that we're talking about, and the reason is because within the team itself, we seldom use email to sort of communicate.